Shout to all my left laners officially tapped into the Punchline Academy, locked in for the left lane mix. Please be sure to hit my website, www.theinfamous Amadeuz.com, or you could click the link in my bio to hear full interviews, mixes, and more. And as always, Tone, how'd you like that left lane mix?
Bro, it's hot, man. It's the hottest shit in the city. I'm not even joking, bro. It makes me want to go in the left lane and fucking run from some state troopers and shit.
Man, shout out to my left laners disrespecting all laws. And speaking of being in the left lane, my guy on the left needs no introduction. He has one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Puerto Rican hip-hop anthem, maybe all musical Puerto Rican anthems of all time. He has produced for some of your favorite MCs, whether you knew it or not. My guy, Frankie Cutlass. Welcome to the Punchline Academy.
What's good? What's good?
So I saw you at Rock the Bell. Shout out to Tony Touch. You touched the stage. What was that crowd like? Because I know Touch put a lot of work into that event that he threw.
So first of all, it was Radio City Music Hall.
Radio City Music Hall, my fault.
Yeah. It was good. It felt good. I haven't been on stage like that. I've been on stage as far as DJing, but as far as picking up the mic and being a hype man, I haven't done that in like over 20 years.
Yeah.
So it felt good. It felt good to do Puerto Rico, do Boricuas on the set, and then had the privilege to bring out my man who was incarcerated and came out, childhood friend of mine's G-Dep, formerly from Bad Boy. It felt good, you know what I'm saying? That was a good show, man. That kind of like sparked something in me to continue doing those type of shows,
Yeah. Shout out to my guy G-Dep. He actually came to the Punchline Academy and kicked an amazing freestyle. Yeah. And a little birdie told me that G-Dep's uncle is the person that taught you how to DJ.
Absolutely correct, man. Yeah, my man, big shout out to Sky Zeke. That was his uncle. And he taught me how to DJ at the age of 13. So that's why I kind of have a nice relationship with my guy, G-Dep,
Yeah. When you look at your catalog, right, and we have like this very interesting conversation happening on social media. It's like this regressive, I think, Tone, it's actually an unproductive conversation where it's like people are saying whether or not Puerto Ricans were involved in the beginning of hip-hop or what their actual contribution is. And I mean, your contribution is undeniable, and you were obviously around during some of the beginning blueprint that was put for this. Like, what is your take on that? Is that what guys should be talking about? Is it maybe a little ignorant? Like, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little ignorant, and the reason for that is because I know a lot of the youngies started that conversation. That don't really come from the old school heads that were there from day one.
Talking about like first generation.
Yeah, the first generation of
like
hip hop.
70s,
they don't really get into that stuff. They already knew. The funny thing is that a lot of Puerto Ricans looked like black back then, so you couldn't tell. You couldn't tell who was Puerto Rican, who was black. They had afros just like the blacks. You know what I'm saying? So, but to answer your question is it's kind of ignorant a little bit, but we all know we were there from day one. We contribute to that. You know what I'm saying, to hip hop. I'm not saying we started hip hop. I'm saying we contribute to hip hop. We were there too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Shout out to the people that paved the way for us. Tone.
Yeah, man. So Frankie, your contributions are crazy. I was thinking about something we were talking about off the air. You said you produced for Akinelli the song "Fuck for Free."
Yeah.
And in one of Jay-Z's songs, he quotes that song.
Absolutely.
In Jigga What, Jigga Who.
Yeah.
So that's crazy that, like, look at that, tying in, putting everything into perspective.
Big shout out to Aknel. That record was supposed to be for my album, my last hip hop album, 1986, which was titled Politics and Bull. You know what I'm saying? And I remember him walking into D&D studio. I was producing that, that song, and he was like, nah, that got to be my second single. And I was like, we talking about this for my album, because he already had dropped Put It In Your Mouth. So, they were looking for that second single, almost the same type of record. And I was like, nah, this for me. He was like, nah, that's for my, that's going to go on my next single. And I was like, all right, you can take it, man.
And I had crazy momentum. Shout out to Kia Jeffrey. She was on the hook of that
man.
Put It In Your Mouth
Put It In Your Mouth joint. Yeah.
That must be flattering for an artist to say, nah, I want this for myself.
Well, it was a respect. I got a lot of respect for Aknel. You know what I'm saying? He's brilliant. If you really sit with Ak, he's a very brilliant.
And doesn't he own a bunch of strip clubs now? I think in Miami. There's a bunch of strip clubs.
He was doing Miami, Atlanta. Now he's in Dominican Republic. He's opening up something really big over there, strip, with like a pools and jacuzzis and all that. Aknel's crazy, bro.
A lot of money to be made.
A lot of money.
And for sure, your name is also respected in the scene. You've gotten to work with a lot of big names yourself. Can you tell us about your time working with Fat Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I dropped that Puerto Rico record it became very big in the clubs. Radio stations were playing it all across the country.
Can you articulate this time, because it kind of feels like this is the transition from freestyle into New Jack Swing, right?
Bro,
so this is when we're
you know the story, bro.
Yeah, transitioning over. Yeah,
yeah. So basically, freestyles took a hit back in 93, 94, Hot 97. They were playing it a lot. They decided they didn't want to play it no more, for whatever reason. But I had hip hop in me because I lived in the hood. I lived in Spanish Harlem, so I had that hip hop in me. I remember being in the projects, Metro North, and I was playing with my sampling machine, and I was playing this cassette with Grand Wizard Theater and Cold Crush Brothers and the Fantastic Five. It was called Convention 82. It was a mixtape. And I heard Master Rob. It was Master Rob. There was a part there where he started saying, "Get money, Puerto Rico." Oh. When I heard that Puerto Rico joint, I sampled it, took it, looped it, and did what I had to do. Couple of weeks later, Tex Presses went in front of Hot 97, gave it a Flex white label. I said, man, I'm just trying to get on. I was a nobody. I was like a Flex. I'm just trying to get on. Trying to make a little noise. Flex was like, all right, I'll check it out. Driving down Hudson River, no lie. 20 minutes later, bomb dropped. Boom, 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 boom. Puerto Rico. He's playing it on the radio, and he's cutting it up, and I'm just screaming like a little girl, acting crazy. Like, that's my first big record on Hot 97.
That's crazy.
So we did that record, Puerto Rico, started making noise, and we bumped into Fat Joe at a video music box. Uncle Ralph, he had like a party somewhere at a gym's. So we bumped into Joe. Joe was like, yo, I need to be on that remix, Puerto Rico. I said, I got something better. He was like, what you doing? I said, I'm doing like a part 2 of Puerto Rico. And we created that Puerto Rico's on the set, which was what, Doo-Wop, Fat Joe, and the Evil Twins, Ray Boogie. You know?
Before we get into this Puerto Rico whole record, in your opinion, who you think is the person that invented New Jack Swing, right? Because we're talking about this transition. So who do we credit exactly? I know a lot of people credit Teddy Riley.
Yeah, as I was going to say. You don't think Teddy Riley started? I was going to say
I do,
Teddy Riley.
But there's always like a story. So like, I'll give you an example, right? So I went to Hip Hop 50, and in Hip Hop 50 they bring out Coke LaRock as the first rapper, right? Because a lot of this stuff is nothing is documented. It's like hearsay. Right. So they bring out Coke LaRock as the first rapper, but then during the prime of the event, Snoop brings out DJ Hollywood as the first rapper. So sometimes there's like this gray line between what happened and what. So that's what I was just kind of confirming with you.
Yeah, I was going to say Teddy Riley. Big shout out to Teddy Riley. I used to always see him walking around with his keyboard back in East Harlem and all that, So I always know he was on his way to the studio,
Yeah, all right. Shout out to my left laners. This is the Punchline Academy. I am the Inphamus Amadeuz. Frankie Cutlass is here. Let's get to this classic. Puerto Rico, ho! On Shade 45, SiriusXM. Shout out to my left laners, still tapped in. This is the Punchline Academy. I am the Inphamus Amadeuz. My guy, Frankie Cutlass, is here in the building. Now, we were talking off air about your production resume. And can you just, for the people that may not know, maybe for some of the younger listeners, just name drop, fuck it. Shade 45, the Punchline Academy, name drop some of the records that you've done, artists that you worked with.
Yeah, Shake What Your Mama Gave You.
Crazy.
Akinelli, F You For Free.
Crazy.
Music Makes Me High by the Lost Boys.
Classic.
What other record I've done? I've done so many records with Rayvon and Shaggy, Nice and Lovely. Cutting Rank, Where Them On, the hip hop remix.
Jesus.
Lottie Dottie by Rayvon and Funk Master Flex. Oh my God, there's so many records. B.I.G. and Uncle Luke Bust a Nut. I don't know if a lot of people
I don't think anybody knew that. Yeah.
I think me and DJ Nuff are the only Puerto Ricans that produced for Notorious B.I.G. For real. You know what I'm saying? So I did that record. And so many other records. So many, I started crossing over too. I did a Like It Like That for Tito Nieves. So yeah, there's a lot more I can't think over my head right now.
So in your opinion, because obviously you left the game for a while, right? So why do you think maybe some of these accomplishments are not highlighted or at least hyper focused on, especially when it comes to the Hispanic community, right? Because we don't have that many people that have made this contribution to hip hop.
I think I got lost through that transition, transforming to become a born again Christian. Okay. There was a big gap. A lot of new hip hop started happening, right? So a lot of things started getting raised, and there was no publicists, there was not no one pushing.
And we didn't have social media.
We didn't have social media, so a lot of things got lost, you know what I'm saying? But that's why, I decided to come back a few years and start to really, make that mark again and let people know this is Frankie Cutlass. I did that record, I did this record, I did this record, so now even with Puerto Rico, people know the record. Some know the name, but they ain't know the face. So now I'm putting like all that together. You know what I'm saying? All the missing puzzles.
And that's what we do here on the Punchline Academy, Tone. Connect the dots of the missing puzzles.
No, man, for real. I'm just very impressed hearing you talk about your career. And I feel like more people should be including you in conversations in regards to the amount you've contributed to the music industry back in the day. It was really unfortunate that you took a break from the biz.
Yeah.
Because we know that in this biz, momentum is very important. How did you feel like you rebuilt that momentum to get back into the game?
And you got to understand, I was at my peak. I was signed to Epic Records, Sony Music, right? We dropped the album Politics and B, right? I was doing freelance DJing I was part of the Flip Squad Funk Master Flex. So I was at my peak. I was ready to, right? And then all of a sudden, certain things happened in my life that I had to just kind of leave.
Wasn't this the decision to become born again? Was that a part of it?
Yeah, that was part of it. For one, I lost my moms, and I was the youngest out of 9 siblings. And then I had a fallout with a gang that I was part of in New York City. You know what I'm saying? They accused me of things that I ain't do, and thank God all that came to the light later on. And, I got that pass. And a lot of them apologized to me, saying, man, we feel bad that we accuse you. So they were about to knock me out. You know what I'm saying? But I had to do what I had to do. I had to go to, to the man upstairs and pray to him, and hopefully that everything would turn out for the best. And I'm still here, man, because the truth will set you free. You know what I'm saying?
Man, round of applause, man. Talking facts here on the Punchline Academy. This is Shade 45. What do you want to hear out of your cat? Let's play something that you've produced. What do you want to hear?
I would like to hear Boricua's on the set.
Okay.
With Doo-Wop, Fat Joe, and Ray Boogie.
Okay.
And then the other song, if you could play it, is Cypher. That was my last hip-hop song that featured Biz Markie, Craig G, Roxanne Shantae, and Big Daddy King. That was sort of like a tribute to the symphony, Marley Marl Symphony. So I took those veterans and put them in one record. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like a tribute to that. So I love the Cypher.
All right, classic heat here on the Punchline Academy. This is Shade 45. I am the Inphamus Amadeuz. We'll be back after we drop this classic. Another classic here on the Punchline Academy. My guy Frankie Cutlass is here. 30 years, Puerto Rico. If you have not heard this record, I highly encourage you to go on your streaming platforms and tap in, even though my guy is a born-again Christian.
Who
are you?
Wait a minute. Who haven't heard Puerto Rico?
Well, you got to remember,
when
too.
you got people like Jennifer Lopez clearing the sample, the song 2 times. Her NBC special back in 2002, her first live performance in Puerto Rico, did a whole 1.5 minutes of my song. Opened up her concert in Puerto Rico. Then just recently, the 2020 Super Bowl halftime show, she opened up her set with my song. If you never heard Puerto Rico, there's a problem.
Well, you know what's crazy, right? Because obviously SiriusXM is a national platform, right? So whenever I interact with people like, let's say like in Texas or Vegas or even certain parts of California, they don't really interact with Puerto Ricans like that. It's mainly their Latin community is Mexicans. So when they consider someone Hispanic, it's weird like how the country is arranged. Remember we was over there in LA and they were like Dominicans. I mean, they knew what they were, obviously. I mean, obviously we live in America, but it's kind of weird how that interaction is.
Yeah, it's very in the West Coast, it's just like you either Mexican or not.
Yeah. Right. Make sure you tap in.
But you don't have to be Puerto Rican to know the record Puerto Rico.
Yeah, well, you know it now.
You know it now. I mean, not only you know it now, but people that are not Puerto Ricans that told me, you Frank, you sing that song Puerto Rico. Yeah, Puerto Rico. It's a classic hip hop record. And if you're a DJ and you don't have that in your archive, then you ain't no real DJ.
You are actually a dirt DJ here on the Punchline Academy. Okay, so I remember hearing you on New York radio, and you will always say ADR. And for people who are not familiar with, let's call it like the gang culture, right? Because if you're in LA, you got Bloods and Crips. If you're down south, you have something else. Well, here in New York City, Bloods and Crips weren't around until the early 90s, right? Let's say 94, 95. We had Latin Kings, we had Nietas, we had heavy Hispanic.
Zulu Nation,
heavy. We had Black Spades. I mean, we had some of those things. So I guess my question is, because you were saying ADR, and obviously that contributed to the growth of the Latin King community, were you ever a part of that crew?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was a brother. I was a 4th crown.
Okay.
So, and you know, they ran with me, I ran with them. You know, they were doing a lot of security for some of my shows. And we had a great relationship until a couple of spoil you apples started accusing me of things that, like I said before, that wasn't true. You know what I'm saying? And thank God that, you know, later on they recognized, you know, that I was not doing what they, you know, thought I was doing, like one of them being a snitch. There will never be paperwork. You will never find paperwork. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're a snitch, they look up, you know, they look for those paperwork. You know what I'm saying? There's never been paperwork, and there will never be paperwork because I've never snitched. I'm not a rap. You know what I'm saying? So thank God later on, you know, it came out that I was cleared from all that, and you know, and also, you know, the main guy said, you know, he thanked God that I chose to become a born again Christian. You know, choose the right path and whatever. So, you know, I was lost. I was young, did a lot of stupid things in the streets. And, you know, I had a dark cloud over my life. So I had to, you know, my brother-in-law, who's a minister, you know, he was like, yo, man, you need to find God. You need to relax. You bugging out. You in the streets. You know, there's just a lot of chaos going on in your life, and you need to surrender to God. So that's what exactly I started going to church little by little. And then I became a born again Christian. And that, you know, that's what it is. You know?
We have a lot of younger people who are often influenced by gang culture, right? A lot of times you don't have mom and dad in the home, so you kind of look to that as like family based. Do you think that gangs, first and foremost, maybe take advantage of people in that go through these things, because obviously you can bring them in and set them to do whatever agenda you have? And also, what advice would you have for someone who may find themselves with the pressures of getting into something like that?
See, I can't speak for every gang. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I could speak for, as far as my experience with the Land Kings. You know, we were there for each other. We looked out for each other. You know, every Sundays we met up. We talked about our culture. We put money to the side for brothers that were coming home and needed, you know, food or clothes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what we were doing. But, you know, like I said, you get certain, you know, people that just start doing knuckle things, you know, start doing crazy things and just spoil you for everybody who's trying to do the positive. You know what I'm saying? And then that's in my case, that's what happened. You know, you had a couple of brothers that came home, they started wilding out, and it's just like, you know what I'm saying, everything went left. You know what I'm saying? For the young kids, man, it's just like, you know, like you just said, some kids grow up without mom and pops. They go to the streets, you know what I'm saying? But sometimes the street, you know, it leads to two different things, you know, either jail or death. Two different paths. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be careful. Be careful.
Yeah, man, round of applause, Tone, for making sure that you are accurately being safe in these streets.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, man, like I feel like I'm learning more than putting into this interview. I'm taking away a lot. So I just want to give you your flowers for,
thank you,
you know, for just being able to like take the good out of the music industry and implement it into so many facets. And then you continue to do it.
Thank you.
So, brother, this is my final question for you, man. Like, what can we expect from you looking forward?
I'm, you know, been DJing, doing a lot of the dance music, freestyle, house music, classic hip hop. You know, 50 gigs a year, believe it or not, every weekend. You know what I'm saying? I've been active that bad. But, you know, like I said, 2 weeks ago when I did the Radio City Music Hall for Tony Toca, something happened. You know what I'm saying? I love to pick up the mic and become the hype man, and I probably start transferring to doing that now, going back to my hip hop roots, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully start producing some records again, get in the lab, you know, and start doing. I know G-Dep been talking to me like, yo, come on, Frank, you gotta get out of there. We need some beats, you know. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
And I feel like, in the words of a fellow collaborator of yours, today's price is not yesterday's price, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. The Punchline Academy. This is the Inphamus Amadeuz. We are live now. Before you get out of here, right? Because I had heard that you were potentially blackballed at some point, and that also went into your decision of kind of getting out of hip hop. So without getting too much into it, like, is this true?
No.
And were you able to hash things out?
No. So, you know, I used to roll with Fat Joe. We were tight after Boricua was on the set. Something happened at Hot 97. So basically he came out with Jealous Ones, Envy, the first album. and I was up there with Flex. I was DJing and stuff. And when I looked at the credits in the back, this is how, to me, how it went down. I was looking at the credit. He didn't say thank you to Frankie Cutlass. He said thank you to most of the DJs.
Okay.
So I felt a little bit like, oh, Joe, you know. So I went on the air and I said, Joey, man, why ain't you give me no credit for that, man? What's going, like, you ain't give me no thank, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then me and Flex made a joke out of it. And I said, nah, Joe's my man. That's my man, you know, blah, blah, blah. The rep phone started ringing and Flex picked up the rep phone, was like, oh, what's up, Joe?
It is the warm line.
Yeah, the warm line, right. So he was like, what's up, Joe? Oh, you want to speak to Frank? All right. So he gave me the phone. And all I heard in the background was, when I catch you is 360. And I said, what you said? He said, when I catch you is 360, and he hanged up. So me and Flex was like, yo, what the hell was that about? So I was like, yo, that was crazy. So anyway, moving forward, I went to a club the following week. That Relativity, I was signed to Relativity, Violator, Chris Lighty, may he rest in peace, and Epic Records. And Relativity threw a party. Beat Nuts was there, Fat Joe, me, Common, Bone Thugs, because they were all
all on the same label.
All the same. We was all, you know, label mates. And I was looking in the corner of my eye and I seen Joe and them getting prepared. I already knew they were gonna try to beat me up. So I was looking, they were like in this overpath that you could see like the whole club, and I'm looking through the side of my eye and I'm seeing them like kind of scheming, and I was like, all right, something's about to, you know, pop off.
Yeah.
So when I walked outside in the middle of the block, all of a sudden somebody screamed my name out. When I turned around, they grabbed me through my shirt and they began to try to punch me, so we was like scuffling. And then another guy came out of the way and pulled out a blade and tried to, you know, hit me up with some, you know, cut me up. Then my cousin came out of nowhere and he did some kind of like martial art move. Yo, he knocked the knife off the dude's hands, and then, you know, we ran and blah blah blah. And to this day, I didn't even know why I had beef with Joe. I heard different stories, you know what I'm saying, but I still didn't have no clue why, you know, it went down like that. About 6 years ago, I walked the National Puerto Rican Day with my stepson Victor Cruz, who used to play for the New York Giants. And Fat Joe was there, and I seen him, and, you know, I went up to him and told him, yo, peace be with you, man, you know. And I kind of told him, you know, like, let's bury the hatchet, you know what I'm saying? And he pulled out his hand, I pulled out mine, we shake hands, everybody started shaking hands, and that was it. And I haven't seen him ever since that. He hangs out, like I said, with my stepson Victor Cruz and Sean Pecker. So I don't think there's any problem. As far as blackball, I want to get to that before I leave. I was never blackballed by Fat Joe. I couldn't be blackballed by Fat Joe for a lot of reasons. One, Puerto Rico was still playing heavy on the radios.
Heavy.
Jennifer Lopez licensed my record in 2002. She already did the record with Big Pun. So if I was blackballed, they would have told her not to do that, right? Not to license the record, right? Shake What Your Mama Gave You was playing hard. Music Makes Me High by the Lost Boys was playing hard. All these records that I named earlier
were moving. Yeah.
Were moving. So how, if I was blackballed, how all those records was moving like that? You understand what I'm saying? So I didn't leave the music business because of Fat Joe. I left the music business, like I said earlier, because of my mother passing away, and because I had a fallout with the nation. That's why I left the business, not because of Fat Joe. No disrespect.
Okay, man. Facts over fiction here on the Punchline Academy. My guy Frankie Cutlass, thank you for coming to the Shade 45. If they want to follow you on social media, where you can tap in at?
Everything at Frankie Cutlass, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you know, and, you know, at Frankie Cutlass and YouTube.
All right, man. Make sure you tap in. 30 years of Puerto Rico home here on the Punchline Academy. It's playing classic. We'll be back here on Shade 45.